Yeah. And so to answer that first, let's go back to the intent, right? Because the intent of the agent, right, is eventually what downstream will affect the access they need to have. So it's more than just having the right sizing the access, it's also making it just in time where needed, right? So sessions of agents are just being spun up on a crazy scale, and we need to make sure, first of all, making sure they have the right access at the right time, but at the same time make sure we have the compensating controls to make sure that if the needed access is not given, the system can go back and make sure to expand access as needed, right? Because we don't want these pipelines to be broken. Goes back to the operational continuity point from earlier on.
I love it. Amit, I'm going to start with you on this one, and then Danny, I'm going to add to this question. But Amit, for you, the first part of this is how would you recommend a company to prepare for NHI hygiene?
Right. First of all, decide it's important for them, right? And we see this growing, right? More organization every day are calling us because they realize they need to handle this problem. And second of all, they basically need to select the product who does that. We do see organization having the other decision, which is basically do it manually, thinking that that's the cheapest thing to do, but eventually this is just too much to consume manually, right? So with the scale and speed these are being created, it's like painting the Eiffel, right? Until you're going to do it, you're going to have to start it all over again. So basically, it's something that manual work cannot solve anymore, and only technology can help them doing that. Once they see the issue, they can start prioritize and going down of cleaning it.
I love it. Danny, take that a step further. Now that they've identified what hygiene they need to prepare for, how do they continuously improve upon that moving forward?
Phenomenal question. And I think it's two elements to that thing. First of all, they need to be able to explain to the leadership why it is important. And many organizations we're dealing with, like the number one thing to do is just, okay, you saw everything. How do I explain to the CIO, to the CFO, for example, that we have a major issue here? And not only we need to solve like a hygiene problem right now, if we don't get ahead of it and like getting like automations in place and stop the bleeding, as Amit was mentioning before, we will have the biggest problem that this organization's seen for a long, long time. And having this discussion opens up the second door, which is like, hey guys, how do we make sure we put the controls in place so this problem won't be happening again? I need a single policy to do that. And I think this is, by the way, honestly, I'm saying like this is the most interesting conversation to have with the market, because this is opens up like how do like organization work operationally? How do we communicate? How do we report it back to the business? How do we enable? How do we get quickly to a stage that like we're not only becoming the department of no, rather becoming a department of enablement, right? Which identity can become. And interestingly enough, we have like a very unique opportunity right now to do that, because every agent today, in order to create it securely, we're talking about provisioning access. It takes hours for a single agent. This is not the pace the business is expecting us to be in.
Right.
So it's a great opportunity for us to have this conversation with the business.
I love it. All right. Quick question, easy question for both of you. Curious to see where you guys each take this. Whoever wants to start can. Top use case for Oasis and why?
I'll let Amit
Yes.
start. Yeah, no, you go ahead.
Yeah. Make the unknown known, right? In non-human identities and agent, and streamline the life cycle of them.
And I will double down on that answer. Like, I think the most exciting for me personally to see when an organization is provisioning NHIs through Oasis, because it creates a trust that Oasis is actually becoming the trusted provisioning access for the organization. So that's from my side.
But I always like to ask one final question. And you guys are in both unique situations because you're both security experts, but you're also entrepreneurs. So I'd love to hear why you love being a cyber pro and why someone should become a cyber pro or an entrepreneur for that matter.
From my side, I would say that this world is always surprising me. There's never a boring moment in the cyberspace, right? Like even when you're like from the offensive, right? Like legal offensive, or like from your defense, it's always just like something new is happening. You need to be all the time on your toes and understanding what's new.
And from my end is waking up every day where I have to solve new challenges, right? That helps other people's lives or make their life easier, right? Either it's to do their job better, or growing our people inside the company.
Thank you both for being on the Cyber Pro podcast.
Thank you very much, Rick.
Rick,
It was a
thank you.
pleasure.